sure that I can make sure I have everything good here. One sec. Yeah, try to connect to the audio if you can, or unmute yourself. And I'll be able to hear you.
Oh,
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I couldn't find that. Hold on a second. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I keep freezing up here. I wonder why.
You have a good computer, good processor.
Well,
Okay.
I have to use my phone.
Oh, okay. And
There
your
we
phone's
go.
pretty good.
There we go.
Sometimes it just takes a little while to get the kinks out, like when it buffers or whatever in the beginning. As long as you have a good enough processor and everything, speed will not be a problem. You remember from when we did the interview, and then you've probably done some Zoom stuff before or after that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So it just
I hope that's the only thing about the videos. I hope people don't think they're gonna see Scream Sam like the Sam Kinison guy. Trying to step away from that, you know what I mean? But we could talk about it.
I mean, I'm sure people are going to think that they think it's just going to be a recreation of the Sam Kinison tribute, but I mean,
I mean, I don't know if you expect me to shave for this or what.
Look at me. I mean, everybody thinks I have pubes on my face, so you know.
It's called the bearded guys.
Well, I was thinking about calling us Renegade Radio. Would that work at all? Or the Renegades or something? I haven't came up with a poster yet because I just literally got home here a couple hours ago. That's why when you originally posted what you posted, I said, Can you change the time a little bit just so that we can wait until I mean, I told you I'd be ready, but I wasn't ready until around this time, just because I was not even here.
Do you put the link on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll share with you here.
I have a couple of friends that would have came on tonight because they don't want to do the TV thing. I want to do radio like.
Oh, it is what we'll probably have to do then if that's the case. I mean, they don't have to like show themselves. I mean, like as far as like if they don't want to have their camera go live, if they're on their computer or phone, they can just turn the computer off or turn the monitor off or the video off and then go like that, I guess. If that's
you see my other glasses on these? No. You see my other glasses?
Hold on. You're talking to your wife, so
yeah.
Now you're talking to me, it's just like, I don't know, you have glasses on. Anyway, I shared it with a couple of pages and whatnot for now. Like I said, this is just our pilot, so it doesn't really matter. We can fuck up as much as we need to. People understand. You know, we're born fuck ups. We are still kind of fuck ups, and you know, let's just see what happens.
Okay, that's good for me.
So I'll start us off with a little introduction because it's about 7 o'clock my time now, 8 o'clock yours. So we'll just see where this goes and see what happens, and go from there, I guess. Because there's only so much we can do on Zoom compared to any other site that we go on. But I figure Zoom would be a good way to start it off anyway. For now,
can you share Zoom on anything or
you can? So if you want to start sharing the link that I sent you, you can go ahead and do all that if you want.
That's why I'm using my one phone. I'm going to use my other phone to share.
It's fun to multitask, you know. I swear, I feel like we're just doing a drug run now. I tell you.
Yeah, that's why I understand.
For Santa Claus, anyway. All right. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this great pilot edition of a podcast. Probably going to be called Renegade Radio. Maybe not. I'm not too sure yet. We'll figure it out as we go along. It's just a pilot right now. It's just with two guys that just want to like to talk and have a lot to discuss. And it's kind of like what I did earlier this summer with my friend Ryan. But for some reason, Ryan, you know, I'll say the word, I guess, to kind of pushed out, you know, of doing the podcast since we're going to edge it up a little bit here. And didn't even tell me why he was leaving me. Didn't even tell me, you know, we did 2 episodes and then all of a sudden he was not available for any more episodes. Probably because he works for the paper and he probably got in trouble for being a podcaster and going beyond the what the media, you know, is allowed to do or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But we're in a different environment now. Months have passed. It's the end of summer, or we're getting close to the end of summer anyway. Some people have already started school already. Can you believe that shit? Oh my goodness,
Yep.
But they have. I don't ever remember starting school until after Labor Day, but I guess this is the world we live in
Right.
now.
After Memorial Day, right? Or
After Labor Day, yeah. Then you would get
Labor Day.
you would get school be done by Memorial Day weekend, and that'd be like your first weekend of summer technically, and then we go until Labor Day, and then we go back to school. But whatever. Some places are different. I'm sure in your area it's different too. I'm sure. But anyway, I'm Frankie Slauson, along with my great co-hosts. Say who you are. Tell them about yourself.
Well, Screaming Sam. Screaming Sam. The reason why I Screaming Sam is I'm sort of retired now. I was a Sam Kinison impersonator, a tribute artist, probably one of the finest in the country. And I haven't been doing it for a while. So that's why I grew a beard. I mean, a lot of people are probably coming on here thinking they're going to see the old Screaming Sam at my shows, but we're going to have just as much fun now as I did back in the day. So I've been wanting to do my own podcast or do something. And then Sean come up with me with this deal. And I said, absolutely will do it. You know what I mean? So if you people, whatever, you have any questions, have anything you want to talk about, if you have talent, if you have anything you want to talk about, we'll listen to you. We won't hang up on you unless you're an asshole, but we can say asshole, right?
Oh, absolutely. We can say whatever we want. This is more like a shock jock, kind of cleaner, dirty, whatever. But we're not going to go too far. But we're just going to go.
You guys want me to shave to look like Sam Kinison? You got to send money to my fucking GoFundMe page.
That's right. Anyway, it's Screaming Sam, and I tell you, this will be a lot of fun because if you know the history between Sam and I, there's a little history, not a whole lot, but there's a little bit. I've interviewed him a few times. He's been nice enough to be a guest on any show I've ever asked him to do, whether it be just audio, whether it be just a video. And the last time it was about 2 years ago, and I still remember it. Sometimes I play that once in a while to remind people of that, how good that interview was.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you helped me get Bill. I've interviewed Bill once on another time back in the day, but like
we're gonna have Bill on here. I mean, I'm gonna get Bill on here. I wanted to see how tonight went, but you never know. Maybe starting next week or the week after, I'm gonna have some of my crew that was on my show, if you don't mind, to join our podcast.
It's both our shows. We can do. I don't care what you do.
I feel like Screaming Sam needs to have Wildman Vince and Waterboy at least. You know what I'm saying? And it's a crew, dude. I mean, you'd have fun because they're fun. They come up with like Waterboy we use for the news, and then we cut them down. And then Vince is like out there in La La Land. I mean, he's just, he's funny. He's a funny dude, man. He's funny people.
And with everything going on in the world today, I think we need those guys to come back.
Right. We need to be. Everything's so you have to be careful with everything. But on my show, I didn't care about being careful. I didn't give a shit. We did what we had to do on there. We were trying to get in trouble so we'd get publicity, and it never worked out.
Just when you really wanted it the most, then it's like, oh.
Yeah. So, like you hope for it, but you don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to cut down all kind of people and never ever, didn't help.
Well, it is what it is, and I say about doing like the shock jock stuff because the only shock jock that people know right now is Howard Stern.
Right.
That he's the only one that I know anyway, other than one other guy that I knew a few years ago who I wish you would have got to know. His name was Ray Petty, aka his shock jock name was Ron Fox with 3 X's.
Right.
And he was very funny. You can look him up on YouTube. There's some videos. We might do some archive footage and show kind of people what he used to do before he passed away at the age of 59 back in on February 3rd, 2015. I'll never forget that day. That was, it's kind of a special day because it's the day the music died. Every year we talk about Buddy Holly, Rich Valens, Big Bopper, blah blah blah. But the fact that my friend Ron's died that day too, after having a heart attack, and ever since then it has going on the computer and just going to other people's shows just have never been the same ever since he left, because he used to do live stuff, and he would have loved Zoom and everything because that would have been most of the stuff was on Skype, and we used to do like stick cam and blog TV and all types of stuff back in the day. And he was just a funny son of a bitch, and I miss him to this day. He was.
I mean, I can never fill. I will never fill his shoes. But let me tell you something. I think we're going to have a good time moving
Oh,
forward.
yeah. Absolutely.
You know
he was
I mean,
he was a great guy, and you're a great guy, and that's why I asked you to do this with me. I want to work with great people again. You know.
Usually, my best shows when I'm with my crew, our best shows are never, ever, ever, ever rehearsed. Ever. We don't talk about our show before we start. Matter of fact, Waterboy would come in right on time for the show. Me and Vince would be there a couple minutes early talking about other things. But when the show started, we just had that connection that we just went on. I mean, we just went off on everything. And
Absolutely.
But like I said, Vince is a little crazy, but he's a lot of fun.
Well, that's good. That's good.
You might wear different costumes on the show.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. You know, the one thing that's nice about this Zoom that I like anyway, the positive anyway, is the fact that because when you pay for the account, which I do a monthly $15 a month on here just because I want to keep it going.
Right.
You can have as many people out here as you want. Of course, the screens start getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but there you have guests. I think you can have at least 20, maybe 25, you know, if you want to. That's a little overkill, obviously, but it's like, but I've seen people do it, you know, like it was supposed to be used originally for like classroom and like when the pandemic came, it was a perfect source for that, you know, as a way to communicate with everybody who has technology now, you know, from little kids or old people.
It's a beautiful thing, technology.
Oh, absolutely, it is. It is.
You know, I know sometimes we're all in trouble because you can't go to a restaurant or anywhere without people being on their phones. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man, listen to what I'm saying. You know.
Well, but there is some kids out there and some families that still do it the old school way. I mean, yes, nowadays a lot more kids, even including I have nephews and nieces and stuff, and I know you have grandkids and whatnot who, you know, loves technology, I'm sure. But when you tell them it's time to see the world, I'm sure without having too many outbursts, I'm sure they're accepting of it, or you have to be, I guess, or whatever.
Or you beat the fuck out of them.
Sure. And then he learns the language from grandpa.
If you beat him up, you got to use a phone book. You put the phone. No, never mind. I don't want to get into that.
Or you use the corner of your fist and it's a perfect spot. No. We don't want to, you know, induct that because that's not the first way to. And we'd be done by the end of the day, and we'd be flagged by Facebook probably. You know, that's the only thing we gotta be careful about Facebook because they could, you know, you got Zuck out there, you know, sucking the Zuck out of everybody, you know.
Oh yeah, I know you gotta be careful with them. That's a bad thing.
But other than that, I mean, there are other platforms we could use, not just Facebook and all that. I just figure Facebook's a good way to do it.
Now, are we live right now? Are we live on Facebook now or not?
We are pre-recording and we are live. We're doing two things at the same time.
On Facebook.
On Facebook. So if you go to Facebook now, I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't see it on here.
Well, did you hit refresh at all or F5 at all? I sent you a link on the
I got the link, but I know I can share that on Facebook.
You can share it wherever you want. Everywhere.
Oh, okay. I've been sharing it to my friends.
That's fine.
You know? Yeah,
I'm sure you got. That's what I say. I know you got a handful of people that will support this. And my problem is that I try to get people to support what I do, and it's sometimes it's like pulling teeth, literally. They know who I am, they know what I'm able to do, but when it comes to any like financial support or anything like just to watch a show, oh, we're busy, oh, we have other things to do. We're happy for you, Sean, but you know, get over it. You know, start stepping into reality. You know, you've followed your dreams too long and you haven't been successful and blah 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 blah. Well, you know, and it's like, well, I've been a little successful, just not like financially, I guess. You know, I've been successful in other ways.
You had some good shows. I mean, you had good guests on, and I mean, your shows are good. I mean,
well, you figure that
a step further, Sean.
You figured that'd give me an instant job in a radio preference, but nobody wants to hire me. And I'm being truthful. I don't care. You know, it's at this point, I don't give a shit anymore because that's why we do this. That's why we have our ability to come together and create something that's, you know, just an idea and it works out and people love it. And then eventually it grows, you know, like a big garden, you know, just grows. you know,
Yeah,
so.
but it doesn't
Yeah.
work out. It doesn't work out. You know, I mean, we
So-
did our best.
So to kind of kick things off, what's been going on in your world there? You just recently celebrated an anniversary this weekend.
Just
How'd that
yesterday,
go?
the anniversary. Yep, I got married in Vegas where I did my Sam Kinison routine. It was really funny because we decided then to get married when we were down at the Vegas, you know, doing the show.
Sure.
And it was a bunch of lookalikes there and that, but I kept breaking the microphone when I'm on there screaming. And then, you know, and they're like, be careful, don't say this, don't say that. And I wouldn't listen to anybody when it comes to that. And then we decided to get married. So we had all lookalikes in our wedding. Like Robert De Niro was the person that gave my wife away. One of the fucking country singers was our best man. And then the maid of honor was that like Mimi on fucking what's that Mimi on the guy that does Price is Right.
Oh, Bob Barker? Oh, no, Drew Carey show.
Yeah, Drew Carey. Remember
Oh,
Drew Carey show?
Yeah, yeah.
Mimi?
Oh, yeah. How
We
could
had
I
a Mimi
forget?
lookalike was the maid of honor. And then all these lookalikes were in our wedding, and
Oh,
it was
geez.
awesome. We actually got married in the same temple that Sam Kinison got married right before he died.
Oh,
And
okay.
they freaked out when they saw me. They freaked out, and they says, "You don't mind us taking extra pictures for?" You know, I guess down there, I guess they put extra pictures of me and my wife and I on there.
Uh-huh.
It was a blast. We had a good time when we did that. You know.
Well, yeah, because I thought, I thought Sam died, and then all of a sudden here he comes back from the dead. All of a sudden wants to get married again. It's like, what the fuck?
And through this whole Sam thing, I got to meet a lot of his friends that really accepted me. Bill Kinnison, I mean, we met and it was like we became friends. But see, you have to understand something. Like Bill would watch the show more without me looking like Sam than Dan looking like Sam. Because he always told me it's not about you looking like Sam because he really don't like impersonators. It's about me being a good guy. He likes me as a person.
Sure.
And that's why I try to keep these shows the way I want to do it. Like even my show, I start growing little beards and, you know, stuff like that because I want to take Screaming Sam to another level because I own that name. So I might as well use it or else I just use my regular name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to take that name to a different level. I mean, why can't I have a different little character or whatever, you know?
Sure.
But it's just fun. And
So when you decided to get married, so your wife was pretty much attracted to the fact that you had this talent or this well, not even just this talent, it's just like, oh, this was after the fact.
she
Okay.
didn't even like it. She don't even like it.
Even to this day, she's like, honey, come on now, grow up now.
I just sent her to get a bath. But she's like, oh, you know, start screaming and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Which,
Well,
you know, we'll get into some of that stuff, but like I said, we're gonna have fun to do a little everything. I mean,
Absolutely. No, it's you know, I tell you what, and living here in northern Minnesota, you know, you just never know what you're gonna see or what you expect. I live in a small town, you know, in northern Minnesota, and it's it gets kind of boring over here, so you kind of gotta keep yourself entertained. And I don't
tip at all.
What am I, Chris Farley off Tommy Boy? Come on now. I'm not that much of a hillbilly, am I? I'm sure some people probably do, but
Yeah, well, if I ever come visit, we'll go cow tipping. I always wanted to do that.
Oh, geez, is that like on your bucket list or something? Or Sam's bucket list, cow tipping, nothing else, just cow tipping. Yeah, I don't want to know what else you're gonna do with that cow. I'll leave that to your private sport. But we're
even you, I'm Sean. I mean, you've been into this stuff how long now? I mean,
well, I've been doing the media thing since well, I guess since 2006, as far as like doing interviews, but like as far as like being involved in media, it was about 2002. I graduated from high school, and then eventually I did decide to go to college, and I don't know if I should have waited a year or so. Like some people wait, you know, after high school.
Right.
Did you ever try college at all or anything? Or
I did. I don't even have my diploma, bro. I don't even have my diploma.
Funny, I never asked you that, Jim. I would have known. Right? But, well, I mean, you obviously did pretty good for yourself without having that, but
Yeah, I went up to get my diploma. It was like this. I walked back with my book
yeah.
and I looked in it. It was empty. I was like, oh yeah, I
You
won.
still had a graduation even though you didn't graduate?
Yeah, we still had a party, everything. I mean,
Wow.
it's not like I open a book to everybody go, what the fuck? Where's my diploma? You know, but I
Okay.
still had to go through the process to get it because I did summer school. But see, back in the day, my mom and dad didn't have a lot of money.
Sure.
So we owed money for the school. My mom money owed like $125, and I couldn't get
Oh,
my diploma for that. I mean,
well,
I'd like to
so
track it down.
so you had
because
to shit, you had to pay for lunches and stuff, I suppose. So.
you had to pay for everything. It's a Catholic school. I grew up in a Catholic school.
Oh, okay. Well, God bless
But,
you. Jeez.
yeah. But
Wow.
yeah, but I mean, I had a great. I can't complain about my child life one fucking bit. I had the coolest friends. One of my best friends just died last week and broke my fucking heart. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But you know, it's I just have fun. I had fun all my life. There's no regrets, nothing I would change. And you know, I got a beautiful family. I have fun. I have
You seem
fun,
like a
man.
fun person. That's why I wish you were.
I'm 65 years old and I still have fun.
I-
Like a lot of people I work with go, you don't look like a guy 65 years old, you know.
Yeah, for me, you at least look like you're at least maybe early 50s at least. Just because of the
Well,
gray
without the
beard.
beard, I look like a really young guy.
You'd probably
because
say about probably 40s probably then, I'd say.
yeah, my skin's
Yeah.
real like clean, and maybe one day I will shave for the show. You never know.
Well, I've seen what you look like without your beard, and you look totally different. Oh my God,
Right.
man.
I look like
It's
a
like-
different guy.
And
But
when
see,
you,
I've got this character I do in the winter for
yeah,
Christmas. It's
Ah.
called Screaming Sammy Claus.
how original. Where are all your ho ho ho's at then? Are they with you at that time?
Oh, bitch.
See, we can say that because it's a Christmas theme, right? You know, we can say
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah, no big deal. Don't get offended on anybody, please. It's all humor and
This
everything.
is this like next week's show. We'll push it all week. You know what I'm saying? We'll push it, and then
Yeah,
like I said, I'll get a couple people on here for sure. At first I wasn't gonna like the TV either, the TV
Yeah.
thing,
oh, yeah.
because they want to see everybody's expecting to see Sam McKinnison, and I apologize because first of all, this is just a test run. If this works out really great, I'll shave my beard off. Damn it! But you know, like I just like grown beards. I always had beards when I was younger. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
Well, here's a way that people can actually, really help us financially, at least get us started anyway. Because I always hate asking for money. So Facebook has done something where they, for anybody that has helped people who are professional Facebook people, like I guess my Facebook status is actually a professional Facebooker now. For some
Right.
reason, I didn't, just it's been that way for a little bit, but I haven't gotten no money or anything from anybody or anything. But they have this thing where you can send stars, and I don't mean like a picture of a star, an actual star. It just automatically comes up every time I go live now on my feed, and I don't do nothing. It just comes up, and you can give how many stars you want, and that's like my money, or
it's
that's like
almost
your
like
fun.
TikTok.
Yeah, or like we tried Patreon and stuff, but I just don't feel like people are interested in my content enough to want to pay for it. Let alone if we start doing more live stuff like this, and do it live rather than pre-record, that increase the chances of people paying attention to what we're doing, and maybe they'll start sharing these stars around, and then that'll give us a little bit of extra money or whatever for production, and go back into production basically anyway. So
Right,
if I want to upgrade
right.
something or whatever, we could do that, and it just go right back into the show, because I have no need to use it for anything other than that. I would like to have
Right.
fancy flashy signs and just cool little things that you see on some people that broadcast literally from a radio show sometimes, when they treat it like a real radio show, and it's like, this is how we do it. So I mean, for us right now, we're using Zoom, but eventually we might use something else if there's something better to come along. The audio thing kind of sucks only because to record your audio, like it'll hear us talking, but there's a trick to getting the audio to play, like if you want to play music or something, or a video clip or whatever, and share it.
Right.
There's a trick to doing that, and I forgot what that trick is. I have to go back and figure it out, and then once I figure that out, then we'll be able to do stuff like that. If it doesn't work that way, then there are other programs that we can use and still use Zoom, but also incorporate the audio if we want to play like a prank call or something like that, or something fun,
Right.
we can do that. But for right now, it's just us talking. So it's just that's pretty much what you're stuck with.
We gotta, you gotta build this up. It's like everything else. I mean, I did my show for the first time. I didn't have thousands of people, you know what I mean? I had a couple, you know what I'm saying? But the word gets out that, hey, there's a show on Sunday night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to switch another night? I don't know. I don't care. But we could do anything you want. But Sunday night's good for now. We'll do,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm going to try to get some people together this week for sure. And it'll be a more interesting show when you click on, when someone clicks on to see us, it'll be a whole different show. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I want to bring in some guests as well too. And eventually I will. We'll kind of flip flop around and see what we can do. And it's not a race of who has, the better guests or whatever. It's just let's just bring some people, just bring some people that, keep these people entertained, because I'm sure they'll get sick of us, after a while, if we're not funny enough for everybody. That's why.
You ever hear Bubba Love Sponge?
I have. He's
got
another
a
shock
podcast.
truck. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got another podcast, I guess, now on Facebook.
Yeah, he's very well known.
Yeah, but dude, I'm telling you, he only gets like maybe 10 people on his show.
Oh.
No, but I'm sure like a lot of people will click on this thing and watch it after the fact too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've heard that with my stuff too. Like, in the past, if I recorded something, people like to watch it later.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like for right now, it's just I figure Sunday night is better. The only thing that sucks is that we're in a different time, location. Like you're Eastern, I'm Central. So you're an hour ahead, so it kind of sucks for you if you have plans, the next day, then we have to push it a different day or earlier or whatever. Same with me. Sundays work good for me right now, just until
Sunday's fine right now. Yeah.
So expect that for a little while, at least, for a few weeks, and then we'll figure that out. But I tell you what, in a couple of weeks, the local casino is having in my town of, I live 40 miles from the local casino, a town called Thief River Falls, Minnesota, and we're finally getting our first band in like a few years. It's been since the last time they had any musical acts. And who do you think they would get for it's a country band, but who do you think all the country people out there that they might have picked for us to?
I have to say Jelly Roll.
yeah. The freaking place to go bankrupt, Jelly Roll. He was in Fargo. Which is like not too far from
Pittsburgh too. I don't know. A lot of people don't know. I own a bar in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
Called Johnny's Bar. It used to be Hot Rod Cafe. It's called Johnny's Bar now. But like he was in Pittsburgh not too long ago. So I'm affiliated with Pittsburgh, Ohio. I got things down Florida. But he would. I wish I could have won Saul Jelly Roll. I'm not a big country fan, but I think that guy is dynamite.
Well,
I think he is so dynamite.
I hate to disappoint you, but maybe it's not a disappointment. But the band is Sawyer Brown. You know Sawyer Brown at all?
Yeah.
They have an interesting story of how they got noticed. I think there was through like a Star Search competition or something back in the day. I believe is where they got their starts from.
Right.
You remember Star Search with Ed McMahon?
Hey, Ed McMahon, right? Yeah, I remember. Matter of fact, I think I seen a clip with them on that show.
Okay.
They had a clip. Yeah, they had a clip out there with that.
They do a lot of good like road songs, like 6 Days on the Road. That's a good song.
They're good. I mean, I think they'll work out fine.
Yeah, I was surprised. Obviously, I was surprised. That our casino got them going, because the reason why I guess we haven't had a band in so long is because either it was because of the pandemic or because of the fact that our casino locally still has no event center, and the one that's like an hour and a half away from me does over in Melbourne. That's a Shooting Star, and they've had an event center for like 30 years, and they get everybody. We just had Trace Atkins not too long ago come by.
Really?
And next month we're getting Tommy James and the Shondells coming.
See, I like that band.
Yeah. I might go down and see them maybe. That's in September.
You go see any comedy shows? I mean, is there any comedy shows lately?
Well, we got Jeff Dunham coming to Fargo and Bemidji. in September and October. See, I live in northern Minnesota, so I'm not too far from Grand Forks, North Dakota, not too far from South Dakota, about 6 hours away from the cities. Because everybody, when they think of Minnesota, most people think of Minneapolis, and that's
Right,
not
right.
Minnesota. That's just a pinch of Minnesota, a little
Right.
pinch. There's so
Right.
much more to the state than you think. But I'm so sick and tired of people thinking that Minnesota is just Minneapolis, St. Paul, you know. But when we get a concert going, we gotta go to the cities, you know, because there's nobody that lives up in Minnesota, northern Minnesota and the central and the western and eastern and all that, just
Right.
Minneapolis. It's like, fuck that, you know. I mean, I love Minneapolis. It's a good area. I was happy to go to the Mall of America when I did a few years ago, you know, by myself. It was amazing. I did,
Right.
you know, I've been there a long time. I'm guessing you ever been to Minnesota at all, ever?
No, never.
Yeah, come up to Minnesota, Mall of America, Minneapolis.
I've
Or
been,
Bloomington.
I've been to Sturgis, you know that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
I got
we,
to do a show on the stage with Joe Santana. It's a band. Joe Santana and I think it's Joe Santana and Kingfish.
okay.
Fantastic. There's fantastic band. They actually let me sing with them on the big stage. So I was real happy about that.
Oh,
That
I'm
was
sure,
awesome.
I'm sure the crowd really loved that, I'm sure, at that
Oh, they
time.
went crazy, dude. I was Sam full gear, Sam Kinison, you know, full fucking gear. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of amazing how things work out somehow. And if you guys
Yeah.
go back to the interview that I did with you a couple of years ago, Sam here tells the story of kind of how it all happened. And it is definitely an amazing story because surprising that you guys have never wrote a book yet about this experience, you know, because I'm
I
sure a
would
lot
like
of
to.
people love to.
That's one thing I like to, you know, everyone thinks it's easy what I do, you know what I mean? And it's really not, because when you portray a character, like when I did Screaming Sam for Sam Kinison, people expect you to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they expect to see the Sam Kinison, like tonight. Some people might be expecting to see the Sam Kinison character, right?
Sure.
But maybe in the future it'll happen. I mean, just, you know, this beard took 2 months to grow, but I have no problem shaving it off, you know, for the shows. But you know, maybe that would help out the show too. I don't know. But you know, when you're on stage and you have to be that character, where comedians, they write their jokes. So they can go on stage and present it any way they want to make it work. I got to go on that stage and figure out, you know, what to do, how to grab his crowd. And I think I did a good job. Through the years.
So do you think if you still did it to this day that you'd be solid gold? If you could go on stage right now, lots of people.
I got people begging me to do it, begging me to come out. You know, and like I was on a radio show the other day, and these guys got upset with me because I kept saying, you know, I'm fucking old, my knees hurt. You know what I mean? But honestly, it's like the adrenaline I probably wouldn't feel nothing if I went on stage again.
Sure.
I actually want to do it again, but I'm thinking I just did a podcast with Pauly Shore 2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, on Zoom. And we did it just like this. We had a 6-panel with Pauly Shore and a bunch of lookalikes, but we had to act like we were today, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, today's Sam Kinison.
Yeah. So
okay.
if Sam Kinison was still alive, I had to act like that. Like, hey, Paul, you know, now I'm fucking taking it easy and I have a little bar in Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Roy Sam, you know what I mean? So that's what kind of show it was. It's on YouTube under Pauly Shore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it was fun.
I'll take a look at that because are you close with Pauly at all, or was it just
close,
for?
but I mean, I met him a few times and
Okay.
we talked on the phone. I got his phone number and stuff, but
okay.
Yeah, I got a neighbor friend of mine, this kid Vance. He looks exactly like the young Pauly Shore. He got the long curl. Let's go, and he's so fun to hang out with because he sort of acts like Pauly. Never knew who Pauly was until I told him. Then he started watching his movies, and it's scary. He's how much. One of these days we'll have to have him on the show.
Well, what's kind of funny about what I heard about Pauly, what I didn't know was that his mom started the Comedy Store.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
So maybe that's why he's gotten so big and everything. Because I didn't know where this guy came years ago, and then all of a sudden here he is in Hollywood, and now he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood for comedy anyway.
No, I'll be honest with you. I mean, he's a good guy and everything, but I don't know about. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his comedy.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course, Sam Kinison would not be a fan of Pauly Shore.
No offense to Pauly. I love Pauly. I really do. I mean, some things are funny. Yeah, but I mean, I saw him a few times. You know what I'm saying? And he brought me up on stage a couple of times, which was cool. You know, and it says, "This is my buddy Sam Kinison." You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty cool. Carl LaBeouf brought me on stage a lot of times. You know, Jimmy Schubert. I mean, they're just all these guys I got to meet. Fantastic, man. And they support me 100% of what I did. But it was a lot of fun meeting all these people, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm
great.
sure. It's nice being recognized and stuff for just a talent that you didn't even know you had, just because you happen to look like them. And that's the funny thing about too. It's like when you look like somebody, you don't. Maybe to you probably didn't see any talent at all. You just like, well, I happen just to look like him. What if I sound like a like Femi or whatever is a Femi version of Sam Kinison.
Right.
That's not what Sam would be proud of. It seemed like it just came natural to you, the look and the sound.
It's like this, man. Like, I'm not Sam Kinison. I am not Sam Kinison. Everybody knows I'm not Sam Kinison. You get some comedians that are going, "Oh, he thinks he's Sam Kinison. He does all Sam Kinison jokes." But what I used to do, people don't know, is I used to write some jokes too and slide it in there. And a lot of people be like, after the show, they'd be like, "Man, I didn't know Sam wrote that bit." And I went, "He didn't. I did." You know what I mean? But I slid it in there because Sam Kinison, if you listen to Sam Kinison now, he's so far advanced in his comedy that you can listen to today. It's almost like it's done today.
Sure.
Some of the shit that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I just try to keep the memory alive for the Kinisons. I did my best keeping them alive. I mean, I begged to be on the movie they were going to do. You know what I mean? And I understand they have to use named actors, whatever. But I had a lot of fun when I did. I don't regret one thing. There's bars I went to wouldn't let me in there because they were going, "We don't want to hear that. We know how Sam Kinison is. We don't need that here." There was places I did, like down to some place in Orlando, Fort Myers. It's called the Lonnie Kai.
Oh.
And we had all old people upstairs. And it was me. It was a Rod Stewart lookalike, and I forget who the other person was. So it had nothing to do with Sam Kinison. You know what I mean? Like, so they put my act last, and my manager come up and said, "Listen, if you do some of your jokes, try to do them at the end so we don't lose these people." You know what I mean? So I thought about it, and I said, "I can't do that. I got to keep in order." And I went up there and I slammed it, man. And all these old people, not one person left. And they were asking me for my room. They were trying to give me their room numbers. These 80-year-old ladies. "Hey, when you come to my room, honey?" I was talking about eating pussy and shit like that. You know what I
mean? Well, maybe they haven't had it in a while.
So it worked out to my advantage. I could have known some old ladies, man.
That's crazy. That's a little nuts there, I would say. But and not to get too personal. I mean, well, obviously, I'm going to get personal with you because I know you more than anybody else. Like, okay, you have a grandson, and your grandson looks, exactly like you, like a younger version of you, even though he's your son's son.
Right?
Is that kind of weird?
Son.
Or daughter's son or whatever. I get them mixed up, I guess. But like, is that a little weird though? It's just like he looks just like a young version of you. Everybody
said that he looks exactly like me. And I'm like, my daughter looks just like me too, though. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And like I always said, like, if anything ever happened to me, that's the kid that's going to take my. You ever see like some people, they don't make it during their life, but when they die, they seem to live on, and people start to like them more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully my grandson takes me to that adventure.
Sure.
Gets me out there, and they'll be like, "Man, where the hell was this guy?" You know what I mean? He's the best impersonator ever, So I got a lot of content for him, a lot of nudity. I did a lot of shit with stars and good friends with Ron Jeremy. So I did a lot of shit with girls, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I shoved cell phones up her vaginas. I mean, whatever I could do to get entertainment. We could do that too on this show, can't we?
Oh, absolutely. Here, let me shove this up my ass here real quick. Here, please.
Only kidding.
I tell
We
you,
won't turn
nobody
this-
wants
we
to
won't
see
turn
that.
Hey, we won't turn this into a porn convention.
No, please, we won't go that far. I mean, the language is great, but like I said, we're not trying to be like Howard Stern. We're only trying to be like ourselves, but in a different world where people get offended about everything. So maybe somebody ever got offended by me saying I'm gonna shove this up my ass, but oh well, let them be then, I
Right.
guess.
So what? I
Well-
don't give a fuck about offended people, because you know what? Grow a set of fucking balls. This is 2020. This is 2023.
Yeah,
Fucking
but what if
live
they
your
don't?
life.
What if they don't have balls? Some people don't
Yeah,
have
I
balls. What about them? Do they not have courage? Grow some boobs.
Some girls do have balls, you know that, right? Like Kate Jenner.
Oh boy, as a whole
We
other,
won't get into that.
as a whole other ball of wax, as they say. With the
Yeah, we
good
won't
old
get into
puns,
that.
I guess. But anyway, as far as everything else goes, just as far as this podcast goes, I just feel like we're gonna bloom into something. We don't know what it'll be like, weeks on end, but I figured that everybody has a good segment, and that's what's also what people get people's attention. Find a good segment. So my challenge to you, Sam, the next time we go on is to try to keep up with the local news. I know you don't like to, but like at least on Facebook at least, and see
Right,
what's going out there, and come back and share some, like maybe your own parody of the news, or what Sam Kinison would say about today's world or whatever. Like I'm
Right.
sure he would have a lot to say. I'm sure.
Well, you have to understand something. If we happen to get Waterboy on the show,
Yeah.
he was our news guy, and the way he told the news, like this guy couldn't tell a joke for life. He made it more funny. You're trying to do a punchline.
Okay.
He always told us a couple jokes, but no one laughed. And he would give us the news, which was the fucking worst news you ever. Like he'd bring up events that just happened that day. I'd be like, dude, I knew you were gonna do that. It's fucking too soon, you asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he got
Two for that one.
okay. Maybe that's probably what we'll do then. We'll just wait. We'll
If
just
we
wait
could
until
get
he gets on.
Waterboy on just for the news, it'd be funny.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, do
Yeah.
we need somebody to keep up with that? Because there's a lot of, I wasn't gonna try to make the show too political because I hate politics, but how can you not when everything's just
The way
happening
things
the way
are
it
today,
is,
how can you not do politics? I know. I
Exactly.
hate it myself.
Yeah,
hate it
it
myself.
brings out the worst of people and everything, and we really see everybody's true colors. But if you're a proud American, you're always gonna be a proud American. Unless you live in Canada, then you'd be a proud Canadian. But
Listen
or
to
a
me.
proud Mexican or whatever.
Growing up, I was taught to respect my elders, respect our president, respect our police officers. I was taught respect. Nowadays, there is no respect. They want to defund the police. They want to. Everyone makes fun of the presidents. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a Republican. My whole family's Democrat, and I fight with them every time I see them. And I'll be honest with you, I feel bad for Joe Biden. I mean, when he falls up a set of steps, everyone makes a joke of it. I actually feel bad for him because I know he really doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I think he's forced to, which we'll save up for another show. But
Sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get you.
I feel bad for him. I respect him in a way. I don't think he calls any shots.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
what
I'm
a lot of people think about the president. It's probably true. Maybe there's somebody else that's like behind all this and whatever.
Right.
But then why do we even have a president? Just to be, they like to say that they're our puppeteer or whatever of America. But it's like, why do we need that then?
I hate to say this word, but that's why they hate the big guy, Trump, is because he doesn't go by the rules and they're afraid of him.
He was pretty hilarious in his run.
Listen, when he's preaching, when he's up or not preaching, when he's up or talking, I cringe. You know what I mean? I cringe like, oh, what the fuck is he gonna say now? But people love that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was pretty I mean, even if he wasn't trying to be hilarious, just him just talking is hilarious enough to me. It doesn't matter what it's about, He could talk about the word cookie or whatever, it'd be funny.
Right. So if you think about it, you got Ronald Reagan, who was an actor, is just like Trump. No one liked Ronald Reagan either. But he did good for us.
Oh, yeah.
And who else I want to tell you? I'll be honest with you. I liked Clinton. I mean, not too many presidents get to bang fat chicks in the Oval Office.
Yeah,
I like Clinton. And I also liked Obama in the beginning. I thought that's one guy I could sit and listen to when he made his speeches and stuff. The best guy I think I ever heard speech.
He's a good talker. I mean, that is for sure. And not only just because he sounds like The Rock as far as the wrestling.
I don't have nothing against the presidents. I really don't, because a lot of them, like you said before, they're puppets. They don't fully, control everything. But
I really hate to call them puppets
your far
too.
lefts and you got your far rights, man. They control everything.
Sure. Well, I'm sure it's everybody behind the scenes that we see on TV, the old people that, should be retired by now, and let some new people get some new fresh blood in there. But it seems like they don't want that. Everybody wants the old people to. I mean, nothing against old people doing stuff. Hey, you can do whatever you want. You want to work until you die, work until you die. But it's like Nancy Pelosi should just be gone. She should be retired.
I thought she was retired. Like I said.
Yeah, but no, she's still there. She's just not doing what she was doing.
I'll be honest with you, dude. After they fired Tucker on Fox, I quit watching news. I told you that. I quit watching news altogether.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I don't know the whole story. No one knows the whole story, but I just, that was my favorite show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great Gutfield's good. And I like Jesse too. I watch Jesse Waters every once in a while too, because he's funny.
Sure.
I like comedy, so he's.
I mean, I noticed that Fox Nation was doing like the Fox Nation app or whatever was doing like comedy shows. They brought Roseanne back, which I thought was pretty cool because I've always loved Roseanne. I think she got the shit end of the stick, if you really wanted my opinion on that, because she was one of the legends of comedy, and just how you treat somebody, who's a legend. You erase them from society. The same thing what they're doing with Bill Cosby and all that too. I mean, I realize he might have done wrong, but honestly, come on, he's an old guy now. If it was such a big deal then, at that time, they should have done something about it then, the prime of his career, instead of waiting until he's like almost time to pass away, to start doing something.
No, Jared, keep that motherfucker in jail. See, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we don't need his footlong dangling around anymore.
Shove those hoagies up his ass. I don't give a fuck.
Let him regain the. Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's just like I don't understand like the cancel culture and all that stuff. I hate that type of thing. I understand more. It's like your way of or people's way of just like of fighting back or whatever. But it's like you're ruining pop culture. You're ruining life. A lot of the kids nowadays won't have any idea who some of these legends are. And I think people should know who Roseanne is, because she has a lot of good too, not just what she has. She's a little weird sometimes, but isn't everybody weird? Wasn't Sam weird too? I mean, of course. But you know what? He had good taste, and he was a good speaker, and he could bullshit with the best of them and still make sense and still be a successful person to life and in death. So people got to remember he was also a preacher, has that experience too, that he preached before he became comedian and all that stuff. So it's like, but he was weird. How do you guys play? It was weird, everybody's weird.
One of my favorite comedians was Ralphie May.
Yeah.
He was good. I mean, he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a shit what he said on TV. He just cut them all. He cut everybody down, which I like that, and to be able to get away with it. But then again, you got your comedians like Sinbad, who didn't need to swear, and he was funny. Sure. But it's different,
Yeah, but, I mean, some people just I don't know, and that's the thing about it too. Have you ever heard of this dry bar comedy deal before?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because they got all these funny people who could swear up a storm if they really wanted to, but they choose not to, and they have a perfect stand-up set. It's amazing. They had Kevin Farley on, and Kevin Farley, Chris Farley's brother, and from what I remember, is not a person who doesn't swear. Like he swears in his shows. Most of the time he does, because when I interviewed him a couple times, he always had some dirty jokes to tell me, which were hilarious. But in this set on the Dry Bar Comedy app, no swearing at all, just telling stories and stuff and having a good time. It's just so it's so weird to me. That'd be like Sam just going on, like I've seen some interviews with Sam too on TV and not being allowed to swear and just having a conversation. It's like see, people can be human beings if they want to be.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah. So, I mean, like I said, today it's just a pilot. We don't really have a whole lot figured out. I think we're probably going to be done here a little bit anyway. But is there anything else you have on your mind at all before we end it?
Not really. Like I said, I mean, I really didn't think of nothing because, like I said, sometimes the best thing is get on there and
Sure.
and just do it. But once we start having guests, you can plan shit. You can plan.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll and you and I will have private conversations and we'll chat about it later in the week.
Absolutely, you know my number.
Yep. And I get a hold of you on Messenger too sometimes.
If you think I like someone, I think I was your sister. Let them talk. Maybe that's me. I do over talk people.
No, I think that's me. I think me talking over you.
It was me.
It's both of us. We like to talk to each other.
I'm bad at that. Like I'm old.
Yeah.
Like if I think of something while I'm talking to somebody, I cut their conversations and say what I have to say because I'll forget what I was going to say. And everybody gets mad at me at work about that. And I apologize, but I'm going to let you know something. Before Vince comes on, he gets out of control a little bit, but we can settle him down. You can shut off mics, right?
Well, I mean, I can. I don't want to, but I can. Sure, we can mute everybody.
He's a lot of fun. Like
so
he's been abducted by aliens.
Let's see if we can get him on next week. Then let's talk to him and see if he's willing to come on. We'll figure out if he doesn't want to do video. That's fine. He can just mute his.
He'll do video. There was a couple other friends of mine. They're really like, how can I put it? Like they think the world's flat and stuff like that. They're conspiracies. Wow. They're conspirators. Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's fine. Let's get them on too. Why not?
Talking to them sometimes. When you're talking to them, sometimes I'm thinking, how do I know these guys ain't right? You know what I mean? Like they don't believe in God, I guess. They believe in the aliens. I don't know.
They believe in ET and Phone Home and all that stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think that stuff's pretty interesting. And that would make a great show.
It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder how you got in contact with them in the first place.
Right.
It's interesting. I have unique friends too, but most of my unique friends are too afraid to be on camera. They don't want to, they or audio or nothing. They want nothing to do with it. They want to be not even heard or talked to. They just be like, Sean, you do what you got to do, and we'll leave us alone. They're like, thanks for your help. Thanks for your support, friends. I appreciate it. So
yeah, a lot of people are afraid to get on the fucking the tube.
Well, are they afraid they're gonna get canceled too? Nobody knows you, so there's no big deal.
Yeah, we're big enough right now, right? They're gonna sue us and fucking cancel us and put us in jail. Please.
Yeah.
Bigger. Then people look at our show every week, wonder what the fuck we did wrong.
Yeah, and if we can get a cell together, and you can fly one of us either to Minnesota or to Pittsburgh, we'll meet you halfway or whatever.
One of these nights I'm gonna do. One of these nights I like to do a show at my bar while we're doing this.
Sure.
Have the bar in the background.
I'd love to see your bar because I've never seen it. Like I don't think I've seen
people that are drunk. They'll be funny.
Oh, sure. They'll tell some jokes or whatever. What the heck,
Right.
And if you tell people you do a live streaming podcast, then you'll get fans that'll be paying attention. They'll be like, oh, this is cool. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for this week anyway for the pilot edition. And
it was a great test.
Yes, a great test.
I don't have to talk over you. I mean,
we'll work on that. There's probably a little lag too. You have to understand with the internet, it's like lag sometimes. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's
right.
Yeah, it's just the internet. Whatever.
I had fun, man.
Yeah, I had fun too, and thanks for joining us for this pilot edition of whatever we're going to call it. Maybe be Renegade Radio, maybe Rush Hour Renegades. I don't know. I like the Renegade title. It sounds badass, kind of. I like that. Okay. So please, like the video as well as kind of follow our social medias if you see that we're tagged, and send those stars because that helps us. That gives us the funding we need. I don't know how much funding, but it'll give us something to get more production, but better production value in the future for what we plan to do. So we'll see.
We should put the Renegade with Sean Slauson and Screaming Sam. You know what I mean?
I might do the Frankie thing because Frankie sounds more badass than Sean, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I might just go with that instead.
Is that
but
what you
people
just
see.
call, is that Frankie? That's it?
Well, Frankie's awesome.
Oh, Frank
Yeah.
Sauce. Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Frankie's
Sounds
cool.
Frankie's like an old '50s name, kind of like the rock and roll era. I always think of that when I think of that name. It's like I belong to the T-Birds or something like that in Greece or something.
Yeah.
I'm a
I don't want to
greaser.
use
Dude.
John Lutz, you know, I mean, I don't want to use
Yeah.
that. Screaming Sam as, and you never know. Next week I might have it maybe trimmed down to just a little goat
Yeah.
where I still look like Sam, and
Yeah.
we'll slowly bring him out of retirement.
And we know that it won't take you long to grow the beard backs before Christmas. So it's like,
This is 2 months.
2 months. Perfect.
Yeah.
Dude. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, you grow
All
back.
right. All right,
Okay.
man. Well, we appreciate you and thanks for tuning in. And if you'll like the video, and we'll see you next week for another great episode of this pilot episode.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Perfect. We'll just record it now. We're both going live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're getting ready to do an interview with actor Troy Evans here for exclusive Renegade Radio exclusive interview, and this should be a lot of fun. I was just running a little late because I know something came up that I had to take care of, but we're still able to do the interview, so it'll be all right. Oh. Hello.
Hey, you got me? Let's see.
I hear you. I just don't see you as all.
All right, let's see your share screen. Huh.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think you
But now
pressed.
I can't see you. What's going on here?
I think you pressed the wrong button. I don't think you're supposed to share your screen. You're supposed to hit
Okay.
you're supposed to hit the camera. You see the camera. There's a camera over there that turns your video on.
Let's see.
Here, let me.
Yes, I'm on share screen. I'm looking for
Here.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now do you see me?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's see.
So I'm looking for the camera now.
Let me see if I can just help you turn it on
Right
here.
here.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
There we go.
Start video.
There you are.
And now let's see.
Do you want it full screen?
Yeah, then I want to go to
Nick Rossi in the Nook.
okay.
Oh, you look,
All right, that's
look
good.
man.
So I have shared screen, which is fine with me.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, well, that shows now. Just so you know, that shows everything. Like, there's probably ways to adjust like the video, so it's like it didn't show like your whole entire desktop, but you showed me your entire desktop. So you had photos and stuff and whatever. And
you're seeing that now?
no, I'm not seeing that now. But like
But
when
you were-
did
but you
your-
were seeing
I
that.
was seeing that. So anything that was private or whatever, I hit the record button before you got in here. So just letting you know, it was. I don't see anything weird or anything like that. I just saw that your desktop, which is a cool feature. Well, anyway, how's it going, man? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to really have access to your bank accounts and everything, that's a good way to do it.
Well, I'm honored to have you on the show, man. I tell you, I didn't think I never thought a day would come when I would be able to speak with you because, I just thought you were one of those guys that, he lived a private life and didn't want to be bothered by anybody, you
Oh,
know, like some actors
no,
do.
actually, I'll counter that with I have a good friend named Eric Overmeyer, and he's it's kind of a sweet Hollywood story actually, because there are a lot of shitty Hollywood stories, but he's a guy I met when I first came from Montana to California in 1976.
Uh,
And my first job was at a little theater at a junior college up in Santa Maria, which is 3 hours north of LA.
okay.
And which is not the place where you go to fulfill your Hollywood dreams, you know. And Eric was a college playwright at a college up in Oregon, and he had a couple of friends working in that same company. And so he came through, and I met him in 1976. And then here, like about 10 years ago, he called me up and said, yeah, Troy, it's Eric Overmeyer. I'm working on a little project with Michael Connolly called Bosch, and I think there might be something in there for you. And so now I've been working on Bosch for 10 years.
Okay. And that's
That's
the show that's on Prime, right?
and
Yeah.
the reason I brought that up is Eric has been known to say of me, you know, Troy talks to people. You know, I'll talk to the guy at the coffee shop. I'll talk to anybody. That's how you get good stories.
No, that's good, you know. No, and I bet you that's what gets you really good interviews. I'm sure I'm not the only one that comes in once in a while and requests an interview with you. I'm sure that happens a lot in your life.
Yeah, and I enjoy it, you know, and I admire you guys that are out there just creating your own world, and so if I can jump in and have a little fun, I'm all for it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I really, really do. I think people will enjoy this. I was going to originally go live, but because I was running late and everything, I was just going to do this as a private recording, and then we'll just air it on YouTube here a little bit later. This is more or
Okay.
less, if you're wondering why I don't have my crew with me and everything like I was talking about, because we do our shows on Monday nights, and
Ah,
sometimes everybody's not available. You know, everybody else is busy, and I'm just surprised that the people I do have on my team, if you ever do watch the show on Monday nights, I have five other people. Like last night, we had
oh,
early times from Sirius Satellite Radio on, uh,
uh-huh,
and so we had a lot of people on. But like, I
uh-huh.
normally have a crew of five. But when I do these exclusive interviews, either I have somebody with me or I'm by myself. So on days like today, on this Tuesday, everybody else is busy. I get 3 days off a week from my actual job, working at the casino. So as a security guard, this is
Ah,
just a thing that I do for fun, for volunteer, because it's hard to make money. Like maybe for you, you know, like back in the day, you were the right guy, right time or whatever, you know, when you started getting gigs or whatever. And I wish I was a DJ around those times because I really feel like my radio career would have really hit off if I would have been around in those days. But nowadays, as you know, it's a lot harder for a guy like me or anybody that really wants to pursue something. We have to work twice as hard just to try to get our name out there, you know?
oh yeah. And
So,
you know, I think that's uh same song, different verse for everybody. You know, it's like I've never been a high dollar actor, you know, and but uh, I've been able to make a living for over 40 years, enough work, and the residual system. When I did like uh, Ace Ventura Pet Detective, I still get residuals for that, and they aren't massive, but you know, $400 or $500 ain't bad,
it's a
you
hit
know.
movie. I mean,
Yeah,
no
it's
doubt.
you know that's and so but the young actors today, they found ways to skirt around all those residuals and things, and when they're I turned 76 on Friday,
Oh,
and
this
when
past
they're
Friday or
76,
this coming Friday?
this coming Friday,
Oh, well, happy
yeah,
birthday, man.
yeah, yeah, you know, I'll tell you, there's a screenwriter and playwright named Fred Bailey, and I saw a play that he wrote about 25 years ago, and it was about some people. It was a play about people doing a play, but it wasn't realistic. It was real gonzo and sideways.
Sure.
And one of the actors asked another actor, a guy named Will Ute, who you should know. He's a wonderful guy. There's a line in the play. He said, "When does the play start?" And Will Ute said, "This is it. This is the play right now."
That's right. That's
And
right.
I was thinking about that since last week. That for years I've had this thing in the back of my head. Pretty soon I'm going to be getting old, and then it dawned on me. This is it.
These
I'm
are
old
the
right
gold
now.
years, right?
Right now.
Yeah. They always say these are the gold years. I mean, do you think you lived a pretty gold life? I mean, since you're not really retired. I mean, you're semi-retired. An actor kind of never retires, so it's like you never know.
If he's lucky, he never retires. And I was actually fully retired and taking my pension before when the whole Bosch job started.
Mhm.
So I've been working for 10 years after I retired.
Sure. Well, we
Uh,
appreciate you having being on Renegade Radio. I wanted to kind of do like an introduction, kind of just to kind of let people know who I'm talking to. I'm sure most people know, but if they don't know, it's time we got to educate some people. Educate a little bit anyway. Well, anyway, I'm as you know, my name is Frankie Slauson, and I'm the creator, the founder, and whatever producer, pretty much the all guy behind Renegade Radio. I've done interviews since 2006. I've always loved broadcasting and did this. Well, never had a chance to really do it as a career, as a paid gig. The only chance I ever had was in the television industry when I worked in South Dakota for a little while. I worked at Black Hills Fox TV, City, as a what was I? I was a what's it called? There's a certain job that I'm forgetting now in my head, but master controller. I was a master controller for Black Hills Fox. I did that for 3 years, and it was the best job I ever had. As far as a paid broadcast gig, but it wasn't. It wasn't like the thing that I really worked for the most. All this stuff I've done is a volunteer thing. So anyway, been doing this since 2006. Been doing radio off and on volunteer wise, never paid since 2002. And by that, I meant community volunteer. Because I'm pretty sure, like in your area and all that, sometimes some public stations or community colleges or whatever, they offer people a chance to volunteer if they can't pay you. And sometimes the volunteer experience is better than the actual going to college and paying a tuition experience, I actually got pretty much a free education when I volunteered. I got to learn a whole lot of cool things and whatnot. So anyway, yeah, and this is all in Minnesota, by the way. So this is all in northern Minnesota, a little college named Northland Community College, a little town called Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Anyway, I wanted to do something since it was hard for me to get a radio job and everything. I wanted to try the podcast scene because I figure, a lot of people are doing this. There aren't many people around my area that are doing this, and if they do, it's only for a limited time. It's only like during the holidays or to promote a sale or blah, 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 blah. For me, we've been lucky enough, my crew and I have been lucky enough to have some of the coolest guests. Some I've had on my show before, but some that were willing to say yes and came back. And, it's been a hodgepodge. We've only been around since the end of August. And, now I get a chance to interview a legend like yourself, Mr. Troy Evans. Man, your body of work is just out there, man. I mean, you've done a lot of things, and I just I gotta say, to start things off, to really start things off, like why the acting bug? Why not do something else in your life when you had the chance? Why act?
Oh, well, it's that's about a 2-week story, but I'll try to cut it down to a few minutes for you. I actually had a very, very good reason. Initially, when I was growing up, from the time I was in grade school, I was very political, probably because my grandfather was a Montana state senator. And I thought that sounded great. And I was very interested in politics. And in high school, I was a page in the state legislature, and nobody in my family had ever gone to college. But I had a plan.
Sure.
And the plan was go to the University of Montana, get a history degree, get a law degree, get out, run for the state legislature. After the legislature, become governor of Montana. After I was the governor, become the senator from the state of Montana, and then be the first president of the United States from a Western state. That was my plan. And it was well known, and like in my high school annual, a lot of people signed it, Troy, remember me when you're president,
Yeah.
So we jumped to 1966. I went down to college, and I had a little rock and roll band called Gang Green.
Oh, wow.
We were ahead of our time.
Okay.
And that's how I was paying for college. And I was having a wonderful time. And the thing I wasn't doing was going to class. That would have interfered with my rock and roll time.
That's right. I
was paying for the whole thing. And I already knew everything anyway, So
Yeah.
And the one thing that I knew, but apparently didn't register, was that in those days, if you didn't maintain a C average, you were going to Vietnam. And that's what I did. I did 1 year in college and was immediately scarfed up and sent to the 25th Infantry Division in Cu Chi, Vietnam, and served 17 months there. And by the time I came home, I was quite a different guy. I didn't realize it, but I was a very different person. I was pretty messed up.
I'm sure the service definitely changes people, as I've been told.
Yeah. So I went back to Kalispell, and instead of going back to college, which had been the plan, I saw a business opportunity. They were lowering the drinking age from 21 to 18. So on the day they did that, July 1 of 1970, I opened a rock and roll bar up in Kalispell, only rock and roll bar for a 100-mile radius. And business was fantastic. But it turns out that owning a bar is not a good career choice for a stone alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I had the other charming side hobby, which is once I got drunk, I just started beating the shit out of people. So jumped through all the long sordid tales. I ended up in so much trouble that they were trying to send me to Montana State Prison. And I fortunately, I did this. I went down to the Veterans Mental Hospital down in Sheridan, Wyoming, where they had a 90-day alcohol program. Now, my idea of doing that was so when we got to court, the fact that I'd been in that hospital waved the flag that I was a veteran. We didn't have to go in and say that. And I hoped that in the 90 days, the lawyer whose legs I'd broken would be out of his cast. So I'm not sitting in the courtroom and they're bringing the guy in on a gurney.
So almost like a movie prop there, kind of.
And this is true. I go to my attorney and told him this idea. I should go down to the Veterans Hospital and check in an alcohol program. And he said, "Well, Troy," he said, "Are you an alcoholic?" And I said, "No, I'm not an alcoholic. But the beauty of it is, since I drink like a fifth and a half a day, I think I can make them think I am." Now there's some clear thinking, right? So I did that, came back, and got a plea bargain for I would plead guilty to the aggravated assault, and I would get a 6-year suspended sentence. But the judge is not bound by the plea bargain. So I went in court, entered my guilty plea, expected the sentence that I agreed to, and instead the guy, his name was W.W. Leslie. He gave me 40 years.
Oh,
And I almost threw up, and I turned to my attorney and said, what the hell are we going to do? He said, oh, I don't know, Troy. I have to move my office this afternoon, but best of luck to you, son. And he walked out. The prosecuting attorney went up and tried to argue with the judge and say, this is, and the judge said, no, he had a gun and he did this. And the attorney said, no, there was no gun. This is just a fight in a bar. And it was, and he's gone through the rehab, and and the judge said, well, what was he supposed to get? He said, 6 years suspended. He said, what did I give him? He said, you gave him 40 years. He said, well, bring him back in here. Now they got me in handcuffs and all this stuff, dragging me out. So they dragged me back. I think, oh, thank God. Get back in front of W.W. Leslie. He says, I'm adjusting the sentence of the defendant, Troy Evans. I sentence him to 40 years hard labor plus 6 years suspended. Now I got 46 years. Now, my family knew about this. I didn't know it until a few years ago. And I never, because my family weren't the kind of people who say, oh, you're getting screwed. They're the kind of people who say, if you would have sobered up, this wouldn't have happened,
yeah.
But they were always furious with this W.W. Leslie. It turns out that W.W. Leslie had run for office 3 times in Butte, Montana, back in the 40s and 50s. And all 3 times he got beat by the same guy. A guy named Troy Evans. My grandfather I was named for. And this is how he got even. So, but the weirdness of the sentencing opened the door. And that's also a little testament to that's living in a low population state.
Yeah.
Those kind of connections. But that was enough to get that case before the Sentencing Commission. And the parole officer at Montana State Prison was really good. And it took him 2 years, but he kept that case in front of the Sentencing Commission until they finally looked at it and kicked me loose, right?
Yeah.
And I've always, wanted to run into that guy and thank him. And actually, occasionally I do. He was my brother.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow.
Is that weird enough?
That's a little messed up that he just allow everything to happen. And it's
the whole thing, man. So I get out of prison. My parole plan, I went down to now. Actually, I should tell you this. When you're really a drunk, which I was drunk for 2 or 3 years after I got back from Vietnam, pretty much drunk all the time. You don't sober up over the weekend, or there's cobwebs in there. And I was sitting down there in my little cubiculo in Montana State Prison, which was built in 1860. So it was a luxurious accommodation,
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. I'd been in there about 6 months. And one day my little pea brain opened up a little bit. And I went, hey, I bet I'm not going to be president now.
Yeah, because people have to look you up and looking for all the baggage and everything.
Yeah. Maybe not. So then I start thinking, what the hell? Well, I couldn't go back in the service. Couldn't own a bar. It's a felon. Couldn't be a police officer. Couldn't be a teacher. couldn't be a lawyer, couldn't be an accountant. What the hell am I going to do? And one day I went, I bet nobody ever asks an actor if he has a felony conviction. And that day I sent in to the warden are you familiar with the term kite? Kite is the phrase for a message you send in prison. You have little boxes, and if you have a message to go to somebody official, you write out a little thing and you drop it in the box, and then that goes to the social worker or the minister or in this case I sent it to the warden, and I asked for a copy of Hamlet. Started reading Hamlet in my cell. To be
or not to be.
Yeah. And I still have that with the stamp in the front. Inmate Evans has my number. Permission to have in his cell Hamlet, signed Warden Blodgett. That's pretty cool little.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then I got out, went down to the University in Bozeman, and I'm not the first young actor to make this discovery. When I'd been down there 3 or 4 months, I became aware that I was probably the best actor in the English-speaking world. So at the end of that year on my spring break, I headed down to Berkeley, where I had an old girlfriend who was going to school there. Went down to see her, and I saw an audition for this place in Santa Maria, and auditioned for their summer session, and now I had no intention of going. It was a junior college. I was at Montana State University. I wasn't going to spend my summer at Allen Hancock Community College. But I auditioned and got an offer, and I knew one guy who was teaching in California, and I called and asked him, this guy Donovan Marley wants me to go down to Santa Maria. He said, if Donovan Marley offered you a job, you have to take it. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's like a junior college. He said, you have to go.
Yeah.
And that's, I'd say 2/3 of the good jobs that I've had over the past 45 years now have come directly from people that I met in that place. And I've been with my wife, Heather, since 1980. Met her. She was working in the prop shop there. That was like the font of my entire new life. Magical.
Oh, well, that sounds awesome, because it's I don't know how often you tell that story, but it seems pretty realistic to me. It seems like you could make a movie about that, about your experience, or write a book about the experiences that you had, even in the early days. Like you were talking about being in a rock and roll band. Like did you ever get radio play at all, or were you just kind of like a garage kind of?
No. And the funny thing about that too is that was my idea. I got that band going, and I was a guy. I got a paper out when I was 8, and then I worked. By the time I was in junior high, I had a job in a drugstore, and then I had a job in a clothing store, and I always worked and always had money. Never did sports or anything like that. I was working and making money and hustling. And so when I decided I wanted a band, I got an electric guitar and an amp, and I got an amplifier, and I had a 50 Chevy, and we could rent a trailer, and I got the guys together. The one thing that I really couldn't do was play that fucking guitar.
Oh, okay.
and all the other, I got all these other people who were really good musicians, and we were quite successful. We traveled all over that part of the country and played in battles of the bands and played. And in those days, it was common. Well, it's unbelievable now when I think of goes to what we were talking about opportunities today.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We go down to Polson. I go down there like 6 weeks ahead of time, and I would rent the VFW hall for one night for like $25 and
Sure.
hire two off-duty cops, $5 each to be security. And we take my brother and he'd take the money at the door. And at a dollar a head, we'd take in $500 or $600. So we could, on a regular basis, take home between $75 and $125 a night. Well, to put that in perspective, my car, 50 Chevy, was a 15-year-old car, had 20,000 miles on it, was in perfect condition, looked like a brand new car. That was $100 car.
Jeez.
You know,
in today's prices.
and
I'd say like that.
if you're like a highly skilled musician in Los Angeles, California, and you're going to play in a club tonight, you're not going to get $100. And you're sure as hell not going to get $5,000, which is what it would cost to buy a modest used car in good condition.
Oh.
Right? It's the whole economy is so radically different. You know, the idea that I could go to college as a non-musical rock and roller and pay for college.
Yeah.
You know, pay for room and board and you know, just.
I think you
I do have to slip in here. My friends, when I got drafted,
yeah,
you know, I mean, they couldn't really kick me out of the band because it was my band.
That's right. That's right.
But when I got drafted, they had a hard time concealing how freaking happy they were about it.
But
It took them about 90 seconds to get a guitar player.
I think you and I kind of are kind of the same, kind of went to school kind of with the same ambitions, kind of like, because, you know, I too, you know, enjoyed college when I went in 2002, but I did not really like to do all the work, because the thing is, for broadcast in school, most of the time what they're trying to do is, they don't want to make you just a DJ. They want to make you a salesperson. And at that time, I didn't want to be a sales guy. They're giving me all these classes that I didn't feel like I needed for broadcasting. I just want to be a freaking radio DJ, like Wolfman Jack or Alan Freed or, you know, Jim Zippo or, you know, any of these legends that have been paving the way, or early times, from satellite radio or whatever, you know, Al Neff. I mean, these legends, and yet, you know, that didn't work out.
Give me one second.
That's all right.
Hey, Eddie.
We're chatting.
I'm on a Zoom meeting online, so I have to call you back in about half an hour or so.
Legendary actor, Troy Evans.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
On the phone.
Sorry.
Hey, I'm sure you get bothered by a lot of people, and maybe it's just friends of yours, and that's okay too, man.
No, that's a handyman that works for us. Really good guy. But
so what's like, you know, other than, you know, doing all the films and stuff, and I could ask you the same old questions, but I'm just going to get down to the root of things. Like, what's, you know, compared to your life back then, how's your life now? After you've done everything that you've done, and you've had the experiences that you've had, and you're technically still working, what's life like for, well, we'll say a current 75-year-old Troy Evans?
Wow, it's really cool, you know. It's and I just can't believe how lucky I've been. And you see you look at IMDb. I mean, I started working, and none of it's not Academy Award nominations and that shit, but just working, just being on that show and going in, having some fun, and coming home, and my wife and I live in a real old funky neighborhood in LA called Highland Park. That's one of the earliest neighborhoods. And when we moved in 27 years ago, we could afford a really cool house here because the house had sat on the market for 3 years because most people wouldn't come into this neighborhood, you know. But
is it kind of a shady neighborhood, or is it kind of?
Oh yeah, it was ganged up.
Oh, okay.
You know, there were a lot of murder, and we didn't care.
It's like,
actually, I'll tell you the truth. This is my favorite thing on earth to tell people. My wife Heather is a blacksmith.
Oh,
Yeah, and an artist. You know, she doesn't shoe horses. She's an artist blacksmith. So she does
okay.
sculptures and gates and railings and
Okay.
you know, all kinds of stuff. And so uh, other people didn't want to come in this neighborhood because of all the gunfire and shit. We wanted to be in a neighborhood where she could bang on an anvil in the backyard and nobody would call the police. So,
And I suppose, all the, so you live out in California, so the Western culture, people appreciate that, like ranchers and stuff. And, anybody that's doing a movie or whatever that says a Western theme or whatever, that's pretty popular, in that area,
yeah,
the Western culture anyway.
yeah.
The Old West, I'm talking. And you say your wife's a blacksmith, well, hey,
Right now, the stuff that she's doing isn't really Old West stuff. But here, jot this down: steelcrazy.biz.
Okay, so crazy.
That's her website. Look at
Okay.
that, and you'll have some idea of the kind of stuff that she does.
I'll look it up right now while we're talking.
All right. While you're looking up, I'll tell you. She also, I love this. She's the president of a nonprofit called Adams Forge, and they have a nonprofit. They used to call it a school. Now they call it a workshop, blacksmithing workshop, where you can go. They just had a guy named Nick Rossi, who's a very well-known bladesmith from Maine, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And he came out and gave like a 4-day class. So people who signed up for the class go in, and in 4 days they've made a beautiful handmade knife. They've made it themselves.
Oh, I'm looking at the website right now. It looks pretty interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about now with the gates and everything. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Wow, that's pretty fancy there.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
pretty. She's internationally known. She's pretty awesome.
I suppose that to do the work, and I suppose I'm sure she charges a good amount of money to do her services, I'm sure.
Yeah, she
That works.
could. She doesn't like to charge people.
Oh, to do a fancy gate like I just seen on the website? That's like God, that has to be at least a $10,000 gate at least.
Is this the big one with a bunch of like little people in it and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It says
Yeah. So that she did get paid. That's the entrance to the athletic field at Occidental College. So
okay.
that was actually a real paycheck for that one.
Oh, sure. And then you got the presidential medal for what is that? For distinguished service. It was hard to read at first and to really get up close to see what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, that's cool. No,
Yeah. So
wow.
yeah.
Well, you guys are both talented. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is cool. No, because it's like, you found the right person, and I'm sure did she have any hand in your career as far as like telling you what would be the good stuff to pick and not to just take every role, or did she not really interfere in your acting
No,
career?
not really. It's the same thing. I've always thought this was odd. Some actors go to work and they take their family to work with them. And
Uh-huh.
I've always thought that was weird. And Heather doesn't go to work with me, and I don't go out and tell her how to swing the hammer.
That's right. Or she'll swing it at you. It's just like, all right.
Yeah. The one thing I know is you don't want your nuts on the anvil. No.
Or on one of the gates that she makes for a new client.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right there. Oh, that's amazing though. It seems like you just found the right person, and like I was saying, living over in California where it's very expensive. I would love to go down there. The closest I've ever been, because I am into pop culture and I love films and whatnot. I grew up on like The Goonies and Back to the Future and Ghostbusters and stuff like that. Well, I went to Astoria, Oregon. I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but you're really close over there. and saw where the Goonies were filmed and Short Circuit and Kindergarten Cop. And to me, that experience alone, the town still feels like it's 1984 or 1985, other than a few modern twists that's in that town. But I went there twice and had a great time. But I've never been to California. My family has property in Vegas, and but I haven't been yet, and or not Vegas, but Nolan Springs, Arizona, and haven't been there yet. But I know that's close to California, and you know, it's like, I mean, to manage to be able to live there, how are you able to, like? I understand because you had a good career and everything, but like even today, I mean, in order to stick around, unless you were really good with your money, unless you saved every penny that you earned, and now you can retire and enjoy your life and whatever. But like, you know, what's this really secrets to being able to live in an expensive area or like California?
Well, I mean, not everyone would agree with me about this, but uh, Heather and I focused uh, right after we got together, which was, like, let's say 1980. We
Yeah.
actually met in 78, and then by 80, I think we were a couple. And and neither one of us was making very much money, but we wanted a house. And so eventually we found a little house in North Long Beach, and Heather was working at South Coast Repertory Theater down in Costa Mesa, which is an hour south of LA. And
Yeah.
and all of my work, and in those days, most of your time as an actor was spent going to auditions. You had to drive to it. Now it's all done online, which I don't like,
Sure.
but that's how it's done now. And so with that, in Long Beach, sort of split that distance, and we bought a little house, and we lived there until 96, and then we found this house up in LA, and bought that. And geez, I'd space this out. This uh we also, when I started making a little money, I figured I would want to retire in Montana. And so my folks had a house on a beautiful lake in Montana. And so we bought that, and it kept us, between our house payment here and our house payment in Montana, we had no money.
Oh
So,
wow.
and we have never had a car payment.
Okay.
We never drove a new car, and if we didn't have the money, we didn't get a car. If we needed a new car, we saved the money till we could go in and make a cash deal for the car.
Sure.
And so we drove shitbox cars, and put all our money into, and then and the house in Montana, uh, we it was hard to pay for that place, and then we finally figured out, and we loved it. It was, but we finally figured out that a second home, uh, 2,000 miles from your other home, is not really very convenient,
Yeah,
and
I
just
suppose.
driving up there is 3 days, driving back is 3 days. And we had dogs, and you got the dogs in the car, and you're back and forth and back and forth. And by the time we got up there, house sitting out on the lake needed all kinds of work. Every time, that's all I did was work on the house. So eventually, uh, we decided. Also, we kind of got sick of Montana. I don't want to go to the grocery store and have the guy in front of me and the guy behind me both packing.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy being around people who have to have a gun to go buy their bacon.
Sure, sure.
I just wasn't comfortable with it anymore. And they weren't going to make me senator. I was pretty sure of that.
That's
so,
right.
so we sold that, and bought some little houses down here that we rent out now, and we live on that, and we live pretty, you know, pretty comfortably.
Okay.
It's nice, and some people hate having, being a landlord. And I actually enjoy it, especially, yeah, mostly we rent to these young people who've come to Hollywood to
Oh,
try to make it somehow, So, and they're really good at whatever it is they do, but they don't know what a hammer is, and they don't know what a screwdriver is, and they for sure don't know what a plunger is. So they'll call me up, Mr. Emmers, I hate to bother you, but the toilet won't flush, and so I say, I'll be right over there. Grab my plunger, landlord man,
yeah, yeah,
customer
yeah.
go in, one good pop with the plunger, the toilet drains, and they think they're with a wizard.
Yeah, they're like, you do.
How did you do that?
Yeah, it all went away.
A little secret. By the way, random, but I have to tell you this. There is a plumber, I've never met him, but there's a plumber in Highland Park, and he calls himself the Plumbing Ninja. He
Okay.
has a sign painted on the side of the truck, and it's a little ninja guy, all in
Okay.
black, mask on his face. And one hand he has a plunger, and the other hand he has a wrench. And up above it says, the Plumbing Ninja. And
Uh-huh.
underneath it says, the shit is about to go down. I think, man, that
Oh,
guy deserves all the business he gets.
yeah, that's a
One
award
thing
winner
to
right
think
there.
of that, but it's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
thing
yeah.
to go ahead and paint that on the side of your truck.
So with the people some of these young people that you rent to you said they're trying to make it in Hollywood. Have you met anybody like I know you met a lot of people in your life, obviously, but like since you live in that area, have you met any up and coming people that have been on television or became a big star or whatever, since you got all these random people, random young people especially?
No, no. Most of them are musicians,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's and actually they may be doing real well, and I don't even know about it, because
Yeah.
but I met a lot of nice people,
Yeah.
and
Do anybody like recognize you at all? Like when you go out in public and be like, "Hey, I know who you are. You're in that one movie. You're in another movie. You're in all these things."
oh yeah, but that's gone on for decades now, really, since it was about 1990. I got on the uh, series China Beach. That was a Vietnam series with Dana Delaney and Mark Helgenberger, and then I did Ace Ventura: Pet Detective,
Yep, I remember that
and
one.
those were things that lots and lots and lots of people saw. And then uh, I became one of the desk clerks on ER, and did that for a decade.
Oh
And there were
wow.
millions of people who watched ER and liked Frank. And now these recent years, the Bosch people, they're so yeah, people are nice though. People don't
Oh,
bother.
that's good. That's good. As they should be. I mean, honestly, when I hear that you're a landlord and you're plunging toilets for people, it's no big deal about you being a landlord because I'm sure you're an awesome landlord, but you shouldn't have to be plunging toilets in after everything you've experienced in your life. I mean, yeah, it's okay to be a normal person and everything, obviously, but it's like, you should have somebody that you have do that. Hire your own plumber or something. You shouldn't have to do that stuff. You know.
Well, it's just it depends. The guy who just called me, Eduardo, he takes care of lots and lots of stuff for me.
Oh, okay.
If it's a little thing that I can just do myself, they're only like they're less than 10 minutes away. I can dart over there and fix a little thing. Or
Anytime they give you a call like at 3 in the morning, you're just like, oh, sure, I'll be there.
oh yeah, that probably won't happen unless it's a fire.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You woke me out of sound sleep for a fire? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah. Call me back at 9 if you're still
Yeah,
alive.
yeah. Wait on an audition here. Jeez, we're filming Ace Ventura 4 or Ace Ventura 3 here.
Right.
So, Yeah, and like I was saying, it just seems to be amazing. Like I always get a kick out of people who have acted and stuff. I've never done it myself. I always just tried radio because I figure I always loved entertainment and I always wanted to figure out how does this whole thing work. When I worked at Black Hills Fox, I got to learn how the secrets of how television worked, and it blew me away of how much the effort it is because over in Rapid City, I don't know if you've ever been to South Dakota or ever had to film anything over there, but in the Black Hills of South Dakota, there's a city called Rapid City, and
Yeah.
Skyline Drive has it's where the hills kind of start, or it's the middle of town. It almost feels like when you're on top of Skyline Drive, it feels like you're looking at, especially at night, and all the lights are going on and whatever around town. It feels like you're actually in the middle of Los Angeles. To be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
That's what it feels like. But anyway, up in Skyline Drive, where the TV station is, it's what you would imagine a TV station would look like. It's a little station, has big ass satellite dishes all over, and it was such a good education for me to learn how to get a signal, how to if something breaks, how to fix it and what it takes to even encode audio because our station wasn't just a normal stereo station. It was like encoded audio with like Dolby Digital audio and all that fancy stuff. And we tried to broadcast a 1080 signal, but sometimes it just depends on what Fox was letting us do. But I never got paid like somebody like in Chicago or New York or LA would have gotten paid. I didn't even make $12 an hour doing that, but I was full time and I just enjoyed the job. It was one of the best jobs I ever had. Currently now I'm at a casino. I'm a security guard for a local
Yeah.
casino. And are you much of a gambler yourself or do you stay away from those facilities?
Yeah. I used to play a lot of poker
Okay.
in my early years. They've got poker rooms in California.
Sure.
Uh, at that time, gambling was illegal, but they allowed you to have poker rooms because the legislature, in their wisdom, had determined that poker wasn't gambling.
Of course not. It's a game. It's like
Uh,
solitaire.
so I used to, a lot of the theater work I did early on was like about $100 a week.
Sure.
And so when the show went down at 11 o'clock, I'd go to the local casino and play cards and try to turn the 100 into 200,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Oh,
I got tired of that. It was a funny uh, realization I had, that horrible feeling when you've taken your $100 in and you need to turn it into 200 and then it's 5:30 in the morning and you have nothing,
yeah. Yeah.
and you're driving home talking to yourself. And
Sure.
that's what I finally figured out. If I went in and I'm playing and these were, uh, uh, it's locals playing in these little casinos all around California. And so maybe I'd won $400. And I know those guys sitting at the table with me, they're working stiffs. They probably got kids in grade school and I've got their money I'm taking home. And I didn't feel any better about that. When I won,
Oh,
I still
gee.
felt crappy, So I thought, why am I doing this?
Okay.
I just,
Yeah. There's a lot of, where I work, there's a lot of people that literally come down to the casino every day because I
yeah,
live in small town America and there's not a whole lot to do around here. But I would
yeah,
hope that when I get older, I would hope anyway, when I get older, that I have a routine, kind of like what I'm doing now on my days off. I kind of just stay home. I go on the computer. I have a nice big screen TV. I can watch movies on whatever with surround sound. The proper way to do it, the right way to do it. If you're going to watch a film or whatever. I like to collect physical media. Because I believe physical media should still be around. I heard that Best Buy, is no longer going to be selling physical media. And as an actor, I suppose that's also revenue you kind of depend on, or does it not matter as far as when it comes to streaming or physical media?
Well, to be honest, I don't have the streaming is really bad for any addition. Pretty much, if anything that's made for streaming, you're going to make what you make up front, and there's not going to be any residual payment when when it reruns, or no matter how much it runs. You're now supposedly in the new contract. We recently had a strike. They've
Yeah,
addressed that, but I'll believe that when I see it.
sure.
And as for the physical media, I really don't know. I get a statement from the guild that you've got a residual payment coming, and it's for such and such, but I don't really know what it's for. If they've sold, I think that's a very small part of it now. That selling DVDs or Blu-rays or any of that. I don't think it's really a factor.
Is that something that you do on your spare time? Because I look at your shelf over there. Either those are books over there, or those are movies or something. I see right over here. You probably can't see where I'm pointing.
Oh, I got books all over the place here.
Is that what that is on the shelf on the other side by the beaver, or
Yeah.
whatever it is?
By the way, you know what that beaver is? That is, do you know, does the name Hudson Bay Company mean anything to you?
I've heard it. I think I've heard of that before. Yeah.
Hudson Bay was the company that used to buy up when the trappers went out. This is 19th century.
Okay.
When the trappers would go out and trap the beavers and skin them, and then they'd then sell the hides to the Hudson Bay Company.
Okay.
That is a sign for a Hudson Bay trading post.
Okay. That
So
looks like
that's
it's a giant,
100,
right? That's
150, 160 years old. Now it
oh
would be out in the woods. This is the guy with the big pack filled with beaver hides. He's
uh-huh.
looking for that sign so he can get the Hudson Bay guy who'll buy up his beaver's hides.
Okay.
That's kind of a weird thing to have, but I have it.
That was the first thing I noticed once you started your video. I didn't notice anything else other than your wife helping you try to set everything up, but I didn't know. I noticed the beaver the first thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's unique. Well, Troy, I tell you what, I don't want to keep you up too much, but I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. For anybody that wants to know more about you, that hasn't learned enough already, I do post this on YouTube here. How can they find more about you or find out about
Well,
you?
tell them to just look at my page on Facebook. I know it probably. I think time has passed me by, and like people under 70 aren't looking at Facebook anymore. But I'm still there, or they can, or they can. Are you must be familiar with IMDb?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they can just look me up on IMDb.
Okay. So
Or
when I first seen you on Facebook, I didn't know for sure if it was your actual account or if, because sometimes people, will say they are somebody and then they'll have an agent or somebody running the whole thing. So I didn't know for sure if it was you or whatever, but I guess I found out that it was you. So I'm glad.
yeah. Well, listen, it's really a pleasure talking to you. And
Absolutely. Likewise.
maybe we can do this again sometime. If you want to do it again sometime when you got all your buddies.
Sure.
What you do? Sort of a round table and different
Yeah,
people.
we do.
Is that what you do?
We do it every Monday night, from like 6 to 8 Central Time. So if you're free in March or April, we could definitely book you again if you want.
Okay, let's see. Let's see how the time goes, and we'll toss that idea. I won't promise, but we'll toss that idea around. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean
All
we're
right.
always welcome because I would love for my crew to meet you and everything because I think they'd have some questions for you too and everything.
Okay.
All right, Troy.
Hey,
I appreciate you.
have a beautiful day. Peace.
And happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, no problem. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye bye.